Hey, thanks for joining us in this video. I'm GT Gart, and over the next 20 minutes I'm going to take you behind the scenes of the BowerBird Collective NFT series artwork. I'll be explaining to you the secrets that lie behind these amazing details that you've seen in the artwork that is the BowerBirds. So let's dive in. Okay, so we're going to start by looking at one of the sneak peek previews of the Genesis BowerBirds. So let's dive right in here. Right in the center of our focus, the central character behind this artwork lies Neo. He's our BowerBird. He's a man who's on a journey. He's been making his way through various art phases and art lands. He's a man on a mission. As you can see, he's moving, he's not stationary. Behind him there are background elements. He's dressed and has an appearance. He also has a mask. In his hand, he's holding something. On his wrist, there's a watch. These elements, I'm going to explain to you what they're all about. So firstly, this is a profile picture series, an NFT series of 10,101 totally unique works of art from my hands. They're a representation of my 40 years as a professional artist. I started in the early 1980s as a commercial artist and rose up through the ranks as a fine airbrush artist, mainly providing images that were not achievable through any other means than an artist with a careful eye, a touch of a hand brush with sometimes only 3 hairs in that brush, and of course with an airbrush, which was creating all sorts of beautiful effects. Something that you could see here that today is done with digital tools. This had to be done by hand by somebody who was skilled enough to mask and then create this glow effect. Throughout the course of my career as firstly a commercial artist and then moving into, at the same time, fine arts, I've been doing portraiture, landscapes, abstract painting, and of course throughout my journey and my discovery process, utilizing technology to bring my ideas to life through the graphic representation of what we call art today. So I've had this journey over the past 40 years, and our central character, whose name is Neo, he's making his way today through the very difficult to navigate, if you like, exploding world of NFT artwork. Now, if you've been inside the NFT space for any time longer than a couple of weeks, you've probably got the same questions as everybody who enters the space, and that comes back to, what am I buying, and will it be something of value 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months from now? So our central character here, he has that exact same challenge. So he's got an action pose, he's moving. You can see he has a concerned look on his face, and because he's on a mission. He's holding something in his hand, he's not quite sure what it is. Now, in this particular series here, this is our Genesis BowerBird, and the Genesis is a starting point, a beginning, and with this explosion of light behind him, it's representative of the explosion of the NFT art scene. I mean, we've got artists like Mike Winkelmann. You may know him as Beeple. Just last year, around about this time, maybe a little earlier, he wasn't even interested in NFTs. He was selling most of his artwork for about $100 a piece. Fast forward to earlier this year in about February, he had produced a work of art that represented 5,000 days of one piece of artwork a day put together in an amazing montage, and it was auctioned off for $69 million. So to say that this is an explosive scene and it's getting a lot of attention from people around the world, both artists, collectors, and those keen on trying to find something that is a great way of making some money. And so our central figure right there in the middle, Neo, he understands this is a great challenge, so he's quite concerned. And so you should be quite concerned as well. Personally, I've bought some NFTs that look fantastic, and I didn't really care whether or not they made any money because I'm an artist, I'm an art lover, and to me, it seemed like a pretty good investment. Now, you may be a little bit more thinking about, well, yeah, it's an investment, I love the art, but where's this all going? So that's central to the psyche of our character, right there in the middle of this painting. Now, no surprise, he's wearing a mask. What are masks today in the space of the internet, other than a way of presenting something about us to the world without really showing who we are? We call them avatars or profile pictures, profile pics. So right there in the center, he's fully, I guess, in his dress mode for how he wants to present himself to the world. And this particular character of the mask that he's wearing, this is based on the steampunk era, let's call it, which throws back to, well, probably into the early 20th century, where people envisaged these amazing future events where you'd be flying in a car across the sky, doing space travel from one planet to another. And so this sort of retrospective look back in the steampunk era is where a lot of this has come from. And so there we've got a more cartoony style of mask that he's wearing, and you'll see in just a moment there's a whole range of different masks that represent our character and his personas. Now, looking at his wrist, you'll see that he's wearing a watch. Now here's where I start to get into my nods to various different artists and art periods. Most people wear their watch on the left-hand wrist. Now you can see that he's got this on his right. Now for purposes of seeing and identifying that he's wearing a watch, it had to be on the right-hand side, but there's something significant in that. You may look at an NFT and say, well, it looks good, I like it, but then on the other hand, where the watch is, what will time reveal about this thing that I'm about to purchase? Will it be a good investment? Will it be something that has an initial flurry of excitement and perhaps 10x, 50x, 20x, who knows? But will that be long lasting? So our hero, let's call him our protagonist, in the center of these paintings is fully aware of this. And so the clock is ticking. So when I started this art series, I was determined not to do something like everybody else. And as you can see, this doesn't really look like anything you've seen before. One of my pet peeves as a commercial artist was living out somebody else's dream, taking their design and turning it into something that was going to make them money. And of course I love doing it. I was crazy mad about the airbrush and making things come to life. But you know what? Sometimes, in fact quite often, when I got to the end of the job, I'd love it for about 5 minutes. And then after that, oh man, I'm so sick of it. It took me like 2 weeks to make that thing. I just want to get rid of it. Never want to see it again. Maybe a few proud moments when showing my portfolio around town. And, I've been across to New York and LA and back here in Australia. Had, quite a long and colourful career in that respect as a commercial artist. But it was something that always bugged me. It was like, well, Greg, what is it that you want to do? So I'm 60 years old now. Just had my birthday, and I thought, what, I'm kind of in the wind down phase of my career, and I want to do something that I want to do. I want to do something I'm proud of. I want to do something that when I look at it in 5 months' time or 5 years, I'll still say, that is so cool. I'm so glad I did that. I love giving things away to people. At times, I've had works of art sitting in my studio, and people have turned up, and it's been something that nobody else really wanted, and perhaps it was a painting that I'd liked, and someone's walked in and said, "Hey, this is insane. I love it. It's so beautiful." And I said, "Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you take that home?" I just love seeing people's faces when they get a painting, they get a work of art that they love, that they fall in love with. So yeah, look, trying to give away everything for free doesn't really make good economic sense. But at times I've done that, and the reason is, as an artist, you put a lot of heart and soul into your work, and that is something that can be destroyed, when you're just doing it for the money. So look, let's move on. I know I've said 10 minutes, so let's take a look at another image here. This is one of the what we call OG BowerBirds. As you can see, it's quite different to the previous one, right? So there is a real distinction between the two. So the explosive light moment, right? We're further down the track here. These are the general population BowerBirds, and it's going to be 9,101 of them, whereas there will only be 1,000 of the Genesis BowerBirds. But central to our theme, we see our character in the middle of our painting here, and I'll just flick through a few more. You'll see that there are different masks that he's wearing. He's holding different elements, and I might just stop and pause here for a moment and talk about why is he holding these flowers that look like they're sort of traditionally painted? What does this mean? Well, you may be familiar with the work of Van Gogh and his Sunflower series, and also his irises paintings. Now, this is like a combination. This is all hand painted by me. It took several hours to paint these, and maybe we can go in a little closer on this. Let's see if we can get a close-up so you can see. Right, there's a lot of detail that's gone in there, and a lot of time involved in creating that. Now, I loved Vincent van Gogh and his the way he approached everything. Like, nobody wanted his artwork. It was probably one of the most disappointing art careers that anybody could have embarked upon. He was doing something completely different. He wasn't prepared to fall into the crowd and just do the same thing as everybody else. In fact, he didn't sell any paintings while he was alive. In fact, I think he might have just sold one, a portrait to somebody for about $20. And so, that was something that really weighed heavily upon my mind. And so I appreciate that, for artists out there who may be looking from the outside in and going, boy, how do I get a piece of this action? I can't seem to sell anything. I'd love to know how to do this sort of stuff. So, that's why I'm sort of referencing Vincent van Gogh there. You'll see that there's another representation of the let me see, I'm just going to zoom back into 140 so we can see everything. You'll see there's a different representation here, and there's some distortion going on with this particular mask. Now sometimes, when we're our minds are thinking about, well, is this a great work of art, or what should I be doing? We can have our opinions distorted by, somebody else who's influential. So there's a great risk, and depending on who you listen to in this space. Like, I've rushed in on things because, somebody said, hey, this is going to be great, it's going to be worth something. Yeah, I'm kind of still waiting on that. If I'd probably followed my gut feeling, perhaps wouldn't have bought one of those. So yeah, these are the challenges that we face, buying NFT art. Let's take a look here. You'll see in this one there's something going on in the background. Now, this is if you can see, that's a Campbell's can. Now, I'm referencing here an artist by the name of Andy Warhol. He famously once said, in the future, everybody will be famous for 15 minutes. Well, interesting. We're moving into a time now where fame, can be established through just 30 seconds, with TikTok. Okay, maybe not 15 minutes, but we've come a long way with technology, and so I've wanted to reference artists, that I respected from the past. Now, you'll notice too that Neo is holding what looks like a squiggle. Now, that's a reference to the art blocks NFT group that curators of art, and you have to qualify to really get into their generative art series, and it's quite difficult, for artists to break into. And the idea behind the BowerBird Collective is that we don't want to limit it to people that are just already at an advanced level in their art, because quite frankly we could be looking at the next people in somebody as young as a 12-year-old kid. Now I'm going to put on the screen here. You can see that there's a story here about a young kid who's 12 years old. He's from the UK, and he started to learn about how to program when he was 5 years old, so he's pretty switched on. He ended up producing his first NFTs, and it didn't sell out straight away. He was kind of a little disappointed. I think he made 350 of them. But then he took that away and went back, and he then created the series of whale pixel art images, as you can see on the screen there. So putting a barrier up to people to say, oh no, you've got to jump through hoops. Of course, inside the exclusive private community of the BowerBird Collective, we'll be going through a vetting process, and you really have to be demonstrating something of value to get an audience with us. But we're not going to make it so restrictive that you have to have an advanced career before we'll take a look and see what's behind your art, where your passion lies. So I made reference on the website about the future. We're looking for, my artwork represents, bizarrely, artists from the future. So if we wind it back a little bit there, you'll notice that if we take a look here, okay, what is this in this particular image here? It seems like some sort of electricity. It's indefined. That's our Neo holding something that is so exciting. It's something from the future. He's on his mission to find and secure highly valuable collectible NFTs. And so the idea of the BowerBird Collective reaching out to future artists is, that's part of what's inside this art right here. You'll also notice too, as we look at this one, we're referencing all different types of art periods. Now here's a pixelated version of an actual BowerBird that was hand-drawn by me, and then I translated that into some pixel art. You'll notice too that this is a beard that looks very much like Vincent van Gogh beard. It happens to be green in this particular version. Okay, a different bearded version coming here. Let's take a look. What else have we got that's most recent? Now, here's another part of my career as a professional artist. This is a 3D rendering, which has been a mask from the Plague Doctor, part of the steampunk influence here. And so we're seeing quite a collection, quite an eclectic collection of different images that are going on here, referencing different art periods. Here's another image, another version, and yet another different look. You'll notice here in this particular image that Neo is holding a baton, and it's actually diamond tipped. One of the hardest things to do, as we all know, in whether it be crypto or NFTs, is holding on long enough. I mean, the temptation comes along. It's like, wow, the NFT I bought 2 weeks ago, it's 10x, man. I'm going to let it go. Oh, yeah? Well, what is it? Oh, it's called a Bored Ape. Oh, I bought it for 0.08 ETH. It's now worth 0.8 of an ETH. I can't believe it. I'm just going to cash that right in. Now, if that was something that somebody did, and of course people did that in the early days, today Bored Apes are going for around about $125,000, $130,000 a piece. A lot more than 10x. So part of the challenge that Neo and you and I both face when it comes to NFTs is, have we got diamond hands? Can we look into the future and see that there's something in this beyond a quick flip? That's the challenge. And so, look, I think I've probably spoken long enough here about some of the elements behind my paintings. I hope you found it helpful. And the last one I'd like to sort of lead off on, or finish off on here, I should say, is let's take a look at this particular BowerBird right here. Now, I've taken a Photoshop treatment over my hand-painted works of art. You can see it's sort of looking like currency, you know, like a note. Here in Australia, you know, we have very colourful currency notes, and so we've got this engraved type of texture across here. Of course, you know, we're all told that, hey, you know, this is not financial advice, we're not financial advisors, but it's no secret that we all look towards the NFT space to find something of value, and so I've included this element in some of the treatments. So if you're wondering, you know, where has this come from, why is that there? Because I think, as it's pretty obvious for all of us interested in this space, we're looking for a good return on our investment. Like, I cannot promise that anything I'm doing here, you know, will be achieving the values that I would like it to be achieving. I mean, I'm aiming for this to be, you know, the next Bored Apes, because quite frankly, if you were looking to make some money out of picking up an NFT at its lowest possible entry price, let's say a Beeple for $100, and fast forward a year to find out what that's worth, I mean, I would be super excited. I'd want in that club. So we're going to be scouring the planet. You know, we're going to be hiring teams of people. We're going to be connecting with different groups on just about every continent to attract them into our Discord so that we can see what's behind their art, what sort of passion they have. And hopefully, through our art drops, which come as free NFTs, sometimes they're going to be fractionalized. Sometimes you'll have to qualify for them by having a certain number of tokens. It really depends on the artist and the arrangement that we come to for them. So we're hoping that we do find the next Beeple of the future. And who knows, if you're watching this now and you're an artist yourself, wondering how you can get involved, then you might just be the next Beeple. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Hey, I almost forgot. Before you go, I've got to let you know about our Mint Pass sale. The Genesis Mint of our BowerBirds, the very limited Genesis series, is starting this Wednesday, the 8th of December, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But that's going to cost you 0.15 of an ETH if you wait till then. If you act now, we still have Mint Passes available for 0.08 of an ETH, essentially half price. You're going to get to mint a Genesis and you're going to get it at half price, so make sure you check our website out. There's a link right at the top there to mint now. Hurry, there are still Mint Passes left, and don't be filled with regret or ROMO, regret of missing out come this Thursday, because the Mint Passes, whether they're sold out or not, they'll be removed forever. So now's the time to get in. If you're really interested in our project and you want to share this future with us, your ticket through the door is just 0.08 of an ETH. So check out BowerBirdCollective.io. You'll see a link below this video. Go there now, hit the Mint Now button, and be prepared to get your Genesis BowerBird for essentially half price, starting from this Wednesday, the 8th of December, 2021. Thanks. Go there now.